Let's get started!
Little person, stop climbing. Go annoy someone else or go to the other side. Alright, let's begin. Today we are talking about the age-old question of which class is stronger. This topic's been floating around the internet ever since the powers of Class 1B are revealed on the Joint Training manga some years ago, and even before that time.
Come on, Class A! Let's see who's best once and for all!
Now I'm going to give my incredibly honest opinion on the matter. And by incredibly honest I mean my own opinion. Okay, to start the comparison, let's go to the nuclear trio, composed of Falcon, the Flash, and the God. Whenever the topic of Class 1A being powerful is discussed, it's almost always this three.
For God's sake, he put up a real fight.
While people may be correct, Class 1A is an entire class of 20 students. And that's abysmal in terms of raw power distribution. Oh look, it's the babysitter. The little person's unusually highly annoying today. Which is probably because the cookie jar is empty.
Clever, comrade. Right?
On the other hand, let's go to Class 1B. An interesting tidbit about this class is that a majority don't have a weakness limitation a number of 1A students have. Which is because the class arrived in an era where weaknesses are all but forgotten.
My scout's telling me that it's time to surrender.
But for some reason, 1A weaknesses are still there, so that makes them weaker by default.
I'm getting dizzy. If I want to cool myself down, I'll have to get him to back off first.
That's the one thing I can't do, matey. Back up.
Furthermore, a number of 1B students are armed with absurd area of effects and range. It's not even funny. There's Mud Max, Fungal, Plantimancy, and Beast's super senses.
I sniffed you out with my acute sense of smell!
Falcon's been given a very powerful quirk, and the Flash may be a top hero descendant. But these guys still outmatch them in terms of quirk uptime.
Oh, you guys!
Hey man, cut me some
Not only that, Pony, Shockwave, Emulator, Aerogel, and Super Glue all have unlimited ammo unlike Lil Guy. Widowmaker's fat, as well as both Princesses and Electro's burst fires.
My body wasn't made to handle my quirk.
And then there's Black Mamba's insane teleport speed and grip strength. And Tele2's levitation capabilities. And don't f***ing get me f***ing started with manga. A f***ing reality warp. The fact that he said damp and the thing still happened means he's only limited by vocabulary, which basically translates to he can do f***ing everything. Now let's go to Class 1A. Why are they called the 1A? Shouldn't the 1B be the 1A, if they're far stronger? Also, why does Class 1A frequently go out and deal with real villains? If both classes are on this hero course, why only one class benefit from getting a real experience? Well, for starters, MHA has absolute garbage villains. When the literal main villain group can fly off to the moon with a single punch from the main protagonist, you know something's horribly wrong.
You! Let her go! Now!
After all, what's the sense of villains if they can't pose a threat?
Grow up.
One would expect that the villains are only weak now, because they'll get powerful later. That is where you're wrong.
Spiraling surge! Get you ready!
MHA villains got even more weaker and pathetic as time goes on for some reason. I have no idea why.
After you increase your forces, do you have any idea how you'd even organize your league? You had the hero killer Stain at your side. All first-class game pieces, muscular, moonfish, and you lost them.
Stronger villains are removed, and weaker ones stay.
I embody it!
If you're expecting a challenge between the sides of good and evil, then MHA is not for you. Going by the villains are weak logic. How come only Class 1A is allowed to go out and fight them, and not 1B? In fact, there's no other student heroes out there except for the licensing and other similar activities. Too bad we are not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about which class is stronger. How's the bonding session going, Miss Babysitter? Now let's go to Class 1A and the other students besides the nuclear trio. The remaining students have standard physical-based powers that are obviously because they're the first ones created back when the creator is still in his planning phase. Class 1B is obviously made sometime later judging by their lack of conventional quirks and weaknesses. Although most are still physical-based. And that makes them even stronger. Imagine Class B actually used their powers way back in the Season 2 tournament arc. While their designs are obviously done, it's more obvious that their quirks are still in development. With all these facts, Class 1B is straight up better than Class 1A. So why are they called B? Theory 1. UA just puts powerful hero students as B. But that doesn't make sense, since 1B still has weak standard physical based quirks like Aerogel, Orbiter, and Scyther. Theory 2. Class 1A is commonly set out because they're weaker, and the poor villains could actually have a 1% chance of winning. But still, MHA villains are so pathetic that Starfishman can knock out Handyman in a single punch.
Nobody calls me dummy!
I mean, just look at those hands. Not to mention he's higher than a literal super strength guy in the physical tests, so there's that. Theory 3. UA accepted 40 hero students and just grouped them up by 20. And put them into 2 sections with 0 sorting. Theory 4. I have no more theories for you. So yeah. Class 1B has students with vastly stronger and more versatile quirks than Class 1A. I already told you my opinions on the matter as well as my theories. At the end of the day, it's up to the viewers what they believe. Are my statements believable enough? I think so you should too.